James Harden has been cooking for the Philadelphia 76ers. Yesterday, he was going off, man. He had like 25,000 assists. He had 20 assists versus the Indiana Pacers, 14 points, near triple-double. He's been amazing, and I think so far this year he has been really underrated. He didn't get that all-star spot, which in the East, it was kind of difficult given, it was either Tyrese Halliburton or James Harden, I believe. Tyrese Halliburton, he deserved it. He had 40 points, 16 assists versus James Harden yesterday. James Harden, he's made his way into the MVP race, according to some people, top 5. The game before the Indiana Pacers, he had 38 points, and right now he's averaging 21 points and 10 assists. But I think right now, this is vintage Harden. He's pretty much doing almost everything that he was able to do on the Houston Rockets. He can't be that type of scorer because Joel Embiid is on the team. You have other scorers like Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris. If he really wanted to, though, he could do that on a different team. I don't think the 76ers are a team for him to just have these insanely high scoring games of 50, 60, 70 points, right? He's not doing that. What he is doing, he's getting these triple doubles almost every single game, which the past 5 games, that's what he's been doing. You know what I'm saying? So he's still not even that old. They're acting like he's Chris Paul's age, like 38. James Harden still 32, 33 years old, and he's pretty much in his prime right now. He had an injury, a hamstring injury that he came off of, and I think that's what really affected him and made him not good in the years like last year and with the Brooklyn Nets. So right now, we're watching some prime cinema James Harden, and if he can continue doing this, I could see the Philadelphia 76ers winning the championship. They had an insanely high scoring game versus the Indiana Pacers. Now, obviously, that game, 0 defense was being played, and I don't know what's going on in the NBA so far. We had a game that was like 176 to 175, like that Kings and Clippers game. It seems like players just don't like playing defense anymore, and it's kind of crazy because at the half, the 76ers had 78 points versus Indiana Pacers like 79. That just goes to show the NBA is evolving. The NBA is evolving, and especially after the All-Star break, I have no idea what has been happening, but those points that we're seeing is in part heavily to James Harden. That 20 assists, it just is amazing. It's just really amazing. I think both teams did their thing, but James Harden, he's really elevating this Philadelphia 76ers roster. Something that I really like for this Philadelphia 76ers roster is they let my boy Jalen McDaniels play into the starting lineup. Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker is out, and Doc Rivers. Amazing opportunity to experiment on this 76ers team. And I think that a lot of people have been saying that Tyrese Maxey had to be benched, but Tobias Harris is a perfect player to come off the bench. Me personally, that is an amazing player to come off the bench because Tobias Harris can give you that length. Him off the bench, I think, will just give a really good, he's averaging 17 points or 18 points or something like that. So it's a really good spark off the bench. Tobias Harris obviously has that, experience. So for the bench lineup, I think that's perfect for him. Jaden McDaniels needs to start. And in terms of D'Anthony Melton starting, them going kind of smaller, it's something that Doc Rivers, he could look at. But at the same time, I think you should just have PJ Tucker in there for his defense, because it kind of showed. The Indiana Pacers had 140 points versus them yesterday. So that's what I think the lineup should be. And Jaden McDaniels, he has really good defense. So I think it should be Jaden McDaniels, PJ Tucker, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid. That to me is a perfect lineup for the Philadelphia 76ers. One thing I will say is that in terms of the MVP race, I was seeing something that's kind of interesting to me. It was pretty much saying Kendrick Perkins arguing that Joel Embiid should be the MVP because the voters are kind of biased. I don't really think that's the case. Me personally, I could see why you would vote Jokic. Very, very good player. Like, there's not really much players putting up the numbers that Jokic is putting up. Joel Embiid is obviously doing something crazy. Another thing I did see is that, they're saying, Joel Embiid last year should have won the MVP over Jokic. I can agree with that. Totally. But Jokic, damn near every game, he's somehow putting up triple-double. And that's just how, unfortunately, the voters see things through advanced stats. You can argue that Joel Embiid is a better player in terms of scoring, and he's just gonna win up on one-on-one matchup. That is true. That isn't how things are when it comes to voting is kind of unfortunate, because I do think Joel Embiid is going to beat Jokic almost every single time in a 1v1 matchup, right? But that's just how it is. They kind of view it as the, the stats and where their team is. But I think without Joel Embiid on the 76ers, where would the 76ers be, right? His defense and everything's amazing, But that being said, I think that is going to wrap up things for this video. What do you guys think about James Harden? I feel like he's been cooking. With that being said, though, Justin Arch, and I am out.